countries or in the Kushimaga region. Second point I found was, since we have 26 case studies, pilot projects, as Marcia had rightly mentioned, can we, in the 7th World Forum, come up with certain findings so that others, countries where, after all, you cannot take up all the projects everywhere. So what could be done, say, for the sustenance, for the sustainability of water and to ensure inclusive growth? The third point, which again I found missing, was, though there was a couple of mentions so far as recycling and reuse is concerned, and it was rightly mentioned by Ganesh about the fish shared by Bangladesh and India, or West Bengal in my country, India. So the quality of water, how that can be maintained, linking with the pollution control measures. Because if I give the example of Ganges, it's more than 2,500 kilometers, roughly 2,400 kilometers. Now the water that originates from the Himalaya, I have gone to the spot, I have gone to the glacier, Gauma Glacier, and the water reaches the Bay of Bengal, the quality is really horrible. So I'm just giving an example how to link with the pollution control measures, how to link with the sewerage treatment plant, and so on and so forth. And the last point, which I feel, as it was mentioned by Marcia, how to link with the PES so that people are involved. Once the people are involved, they will come for the forestry, they will come for the reforestation, they will go for the basic integrated watershed management approach. So how to link with water so that eventually we succeed the ultimate goal of 7th World Water Forum. Thank you.
Thank you. Professor.
I just would like to add that during the last November Warm Plus 10 meeting on water by the Union government, there's a catchphrase written that there's no water, which is not good. That really touched me. So in the 7th World Water Forum, we are going to start science and technology process session. So we have to deal with how to use our technological innovation to increase the use of water. We are talking about shortage of water all the time, but we have to have all the wastewater to use. For example, in Singapore, 30% of tap water is new water, so-called used water. So we have to think that too.
Right. Behind. Sorry. It's on.
Yeah. My name is Sher Khan. I'm water environment representing our Khan World for 2 years from Pakistan. Well, I was impressed with all the presentations. I have a short comment on Dr. Marcia's policy framework. How the policy framework looks at water rights and conflict resolution in terms of green growth and community ownership and community involvement, behavior change, communication, and sustainable infrastructure. We talk about infrastructure and technology, but what about sustainable infrastructure? Because we have seen in Pakistan, in water treatment, some plants have been given, but after 2 years, all gone. So how the policy looks at these two perspectives?
I think we have one. Is it short? Just a short question.
Thank you very much. My name is Imad Adli. I come from Egypt, and I'm also the chair of the Nile Basin Discourse, which is a civil society network of NGOs in the Nile Basin, including the 10 countries in the basin. I apologize, I also arrived here during the last presentation, but what attracted me to the session was that we are talking about green growth, but in our case, green growth means security. It means peaceful situation in the region. It's not only the green growth at the local level or the national level, it's also at the basin level for 10 countries where you have different development passes in the different countries. So I think, and I'm very happy that I heard the issue of technology. We are now a civil society. We understand and we believe that technology, science and technology can make the difference, because if we are talking only about shares, we will be fighting forever. But if we are talking about how we can get the best use of each drop in the basin, I think this kind of diplomacy, the science and technology will be the new paradigm for the diplomacy. Because the existing diplomacy now is only talking about figures, but they are not talking about other solutions, they are not talking about alternatives. And everyone is just thinking about the situation in this way. So here, I hope that when I heard about, I saw the film about the Seventh Water Forum, I think this is also one of the issues that will be raised, because otherwise, the future will be very difficult for some regions like the United Nations.
Thank you. I beg your indulgence, we might run through to 10 past for those of you who are able to stay, just as we have to start 10 minutes early. I think we should go through and answer the questions. So if I start at this end, and if we just move through this way, and if you could just be brief with your responses or comments you have.
I think just to take all of the questions together, there's a common theme here, which is that water is going to make the world a very flat place. And this gets back to Colin's question, about the difference between how developed countries and developing countries are going to go along the path of inclusive green growth. I think water is going to be the great equalizer, because as we watch a world change in this new climate-stressed world, where water is and where it isn't is going to matter very closely, very, very carefully. Policy fundamentals, again, are going to be extremely important, but we have to remember there are going to be enormous trade-offs. Security in some places, food security, energy security, national security, all of these things are going to matter, and there are trade-offs. We're going to have to learn to manage with competing groups, because while fishermen may be eager to ensure environmental flows for particular fish, there's going to be a downstream energy company or hydropower dam that is very vocal about a different type of environmental flow to keep their turbines going. And so there's going to be an awful lot of trade-offs, and I think we have to learn how to employ technologies, both very sophisticated technologies and very simple technologies, because even though we only live in one globe, we do need to squeeze more water out of it. We need to learn how to use it better to reduce waste. And again, this all comes down to the factor that we have to really emphasize that inclusive nature of green growth, because like it or not, this cannot be a top-down solution to this. There's too much at stake. There's too many people with interest in this. And water affects us all. It's the one thing we can't live without. We can't get food without it. We can't get energy without it. So we have to remember this is about inclusive green growth and about letting everybody's voice into the equation. Thank you.
Even though I'm not a water expert, the water is changing in face from people to people, from region to region. So, and then the people from, I think, Middle East and other regions, I think they have a different kind of needs. They need to customize solution. So I think the from the GGGI perspective, I think the key success factor when we actually implement green growth on the ground is that how we actually manage the speed of that implementation, and as well as how actually we can scale up that implementation. And Dr. Min told the people, Korea's speed was too fast in terms of development and growth. So actually, we are actually reverting that development path through the reverse engineering now, through green growth policy. So, but based on customized needs and some local situation, I think we actually need the control of that speed of implementation. Also, how much we have to scale up or scale down the implementation. That's kind of the key success factor of the implementation. Secondly, right, I may add, as Salma said, we may need kind of the open, as like a storyboard, we may need kind of the open platform or open laboratory to share some ideas and solutions. I think that's kind of the one of the easier way to disseminate some existing and proven solutions to other parts of the world.
1 minute.
Okay. So, as a researcher for the water and green growth, I'd like implement this project in the real case and real world. So, we have planned to cooperate with international organizations like IUCN and also OECD, World Bank, and ADB. Actually, we met several people in Stockholm, and we had a workshop with the ADB, UNEP, and also Asian ADB as well. So we promised to work each other to get these policies to realize in the real world. So we plan to do 1 or 2 cases based on this research framework in the real world.
Yeah, much has been said. I'd like to actually just end by saying that what actually Ambassador Park also said in her opening remarks is that end of the day, we are not even 0.001% of the population of this globe who knows these issues and is talking to each other about it. 99.9% of the people, how do we communicate what we are saying in this room, what we are saying in DGI, and change the mindset of the people who are actually the whole consumerism and the need and the greed. I think that's the long-term vision also of green growth if we have to really go. I think that's going to be one of the, many of us in the room are not going to be a part of it, but we can be part of it working with other partners and media and other things. I think that's one of the long ways. It's not something in 10 years, but it's 50 years if you're looking from now, 100 years. It's that longer vision that one has to also look, along with of course all what we're doing, our research, and as she said, the wastewater. All this is of course is because of the finite nature of the resource. But as I said in my presentation also, it's people who at the end of the day matter for both sides of the coin. So how do we really convert that and convert some of these ideas into those kind of sphere, and that's how we can do it.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that as we work towards the 7th World Water Forum, we're going to want to include other case studies. And I would say that the glacier, the issue of the glacier is a very important one in both the Himalayas and in the Andes. And it would be great to get some case studies from that area. Recycling and reuse and dry areas, particularly if you look at the Nile or the Niger rivers, I mean, there are parts of those rivers that don't get any rainfall. All they have is the river. So we feel, I mean, in the UN, from a UN perspective, that there's more potential for cooperation over water than conflict because it is so essential. You can't live without it. So countries along a river that are dry really need to cooperate on those finite resources that our friend Salma was talking about. Community involvement, as you mentioned, in sustainable infrastructure and water treatment. Some of the case studies we had included both large-scale infrastructure and local rainwater harvesting systems, small-scale irrigation, all together. So you have the larger infrastructure along with the smaller infrastructure that involve people directly, and planting along the banks of the river with incentives, economic incentives to use in small businesses and so on. So there were a lot of different examples of ways that people along the river could get involved. And just my last word is that you cannot do any of this without involving the people who live on the rivers.
I just came back from the Inter-Academic Panels in Sao Paulo. And it was so, for me, enlightening to hear the project between Israel and Jordan managing the aquifers. So I think water can bring us together instead of the other things that we're saying. Water fuels our economy. We will therefore have to differentiate between need and greed among us. Water for agriculture, 80% being used for food in Asia Pacific. That is a bit too much. And the major reason is because we are using flood irrigation. Why are we not looking at the saltwater continuum the way, we're talking about Andy here, the way California planned, the way Florida do, Louisiana, and Australia. My last point is on the water towers of the Hindu Kush. The Asia Pacific Water Forum and ADB steering group on climate change adaptation, which I am also co-chair, we are looking into that. And we are looking together with ICMOD. Perhaps you can look at ICMOD and see how we can incorporate it in your case studies. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to thank you all for actually staying and participating, and your feedback for the 7th Forum and feedback on the report is hugely welcome. And if you have any further comments, yes, if you have any further comments, there's some contact details on the back of the pamphlet. So we do ask that you send your ideas and our case studies. We do have one very short, I believe, final comment at the back, which you've been very patient. So please, thank you.
My name is John Paul Paddock from WWF, and just wanted to share a piece of information. We shouldn't forget the private sector and their corporate. And WWF has developed a software called the Water Risk Filter. And since then, this is a free software that you can download on our website, panda.org. And since May, we've had about 50,000 companies download it to help them do their own self-assessment of the risk they have vis-a-vis water. So encourage everybody to look at this water risk filter, and you can find it on panda.org. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and that's a really good point. Absolutely, we shouldn't forget the private sector and all of this. I mean, business is key to the economy. So, thank you very much. We hope to keep engaging with you on this story in the months and indeed the years to come up to the 7th World Water Forum. And please enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Thank you to all of our speakers.